Jane Adler is a successful bakery owner living in Santa Barbara, recently divorced but generally content with her life. She's been divorced from Jake, her ex-husband of 20 years, for about a decade. Jake is now remarried to a much younger woman named Agness, with whom he has a young son. Despite the divorce, Jane and Jake still share a family bond through their 3 adult children, Gabby, Lauren, and Luke. The story begins with a family celebration for Jane's friend's anniversary, where Jane and Jake exchange friendly but loaded small talk. Their dynamic is clearly still complicated. The next major family event is Luke's graduation, prompting Jane and Jake to travel to New York. In the midst of a party-filled weekend and after sharing drinks and nostalgia at a bar, Jane and Jake unexpectedly sleep together. What begins as a one-time slip soon spirals into a secret affair between the 2 ex-spouses. Jane is rattled by the emotional and moral consequences, especially since Jake is still married. Jake, however, feels revitalized by their connection and pushes for more encounters. As the affair continues, Jane starts to question her life choices. She consults with an architect, Adam Schaffer, about expanding her house and finally building the dream kitchen she always wanted. Adam, recently divorced himself, begins to show interest in Jane. Their interactions are professional at first but hint at something more. Jane is intrigued by the attention from someone new, but her life is quickly becoming entangled with the rekindled relationship with Jake. Jane's friends and children begin to notice subtle changes in her behavior. She has bursts of unexpected energy, a new outlook, and a spark they haven't seen in a while. She admits to feeling more alive but also increasingly confused. Jake continues to pursue her, convinced that what they've rediscovered is rare and worth fighting for. He believes they've both grown into the people they wanted each other to be when they were married, and that now is the perfect time to try again. Meanwhile, Jane struggles with guilt and uncertainty. Agness is not a likable character, but Jane still doesn't want to be the other woman. Despite this, she keeps seeing Jake. The sex is passionate, the conversations more relaxed than they ever were when they were married. But she knows deep down that what they're doing is unsustainable. Her daughter Gabby confronts her at one point, jokingly suggesting Jane get a dog since she's now alone, and this offhand comment resonates more deeply than expected. As the story progresses, Jane tries to balance her feelings for Jake and her budding connection with Adam. She begins to enjoy Adam's company, and he seems to offer something that Jake never really could: stability and simplicity. In contrast, the affair with Jake is chaotic and emotionally charged, a mix of pleasure and guilt. Jane finds herself living a double life, baking pies in the daytime and engaging in secret rendezvous at night. Her friends encourage her to get back into the dating scene while also voicing their disapproval of Jake and his erratic choices. Things come to a head when Jake makes a heartfelt plea. He tells Jane that he's never stopped loving her and believes fate has brought them back together. He insists their renewed intimacy isn't just about sex, it's about reconnecting with someone who knows and accepts them deeply. Jane, torn between the past and the potential future, doesn't know what to believe. The turning point comes when Jane begins to see that Jake hasn't really changed in all the ways she hoped. Though the chemistry is undeniable, the issues that led to their divorce still linger. His charm is still tinged with irresponsibility. His marriage to Agness might be rocky, but it's still a commitment he's breaking, and Jane realizes she deserves more than to be someone's escape. Her growing rapport with Adam and the clarity that comes from working on her home push her toward independence. Eventually, Jane decides to end the affair. She tells Jake they can't continue, acknowledging how wrong it feels and how it's been clouding her judgment. Jake is hurt, but Jane is firm. She wants a clean break, not a return to the messiness of their past. She begins to lean into her new project, symbolizing a new chapter in her life. Meanwhile, Jake is basking in the comfort of Jane's life. He misses the familiarity, the peace, the food, and the stability he had with her. His current life with Agness is loud and demanding, filled with fertility treatments and endless arguments. Jane becomes his escape. The problem is Jane is torn. She doesn't know if her feelings stem from nostalgia, loneliness, or unresolved emotions. To complicate things, Jake begins hinting at wanting to rekindle their relationship for real. While all this is happening, Jane begins working on a home renovation project with Adam, a kind, intelligent architect who is also recently divorced. Adam is thoughtful, warm, and everything Jake isn't. He's clearly interested in Jane, and she's surprised by how comfortable she feels around him. They bond over shared pain and healing. He's observant enough to sense something's going on with Jane emotionally, but doesn't push too hard. Jane, however, keeps Adam at a distance, unsure of what she really wants. The contrast between Adam and Jake couldn't be more stark. Jake is chaotic and unpredictable, full of old habits and drama. Adam is mature, present, and respectful. One night, Adam invites Jane to a French film festival, but Jane declines because Jake is coming over for dinner. Jake doesn't know about Adam, and Jane feels increasingly torn between two versions of herself, her past with Jake and her possible future with Adam. Eventually, the affair starts taking a toll. Jane begins questioning herself, even seeking an emergency therapy session where she pleads for clarity. Her therapist refuses to give her direct answers, but gently encourages her to use the situation as an opportunity for self-discovery. Jane confesses she might just be lonely now that her kids are out of the house, and Jake reappearing gave her a chance to feel needed again. But she knows deep down that something is off. Jake, meanwhile, is dealing with his own chaos. He collapses in a hotel room due to medication side effects and is taken to the hospital. Agness rushes in, clueless about his affair. Jane, witnessing this, realizes just how messy and dishonest the whole situation has become. She's not a secretive person, and living in this web of lies is suffocating her. It's becoming clear that Jake hasn't changed. He's still unreliable and selfish, and now she's compromising herself in ways she never thought she would. Things reach a breaking point when Lauren, Jane and Jake's daughter, mentions seeing Jake at the same hotel where she and her fiancé met with a wedding specialist. The coincidence is too much. Jane's double life is about to collide with her real one. During a family gathering, Jane watches as Jake slips away to get olive oil for Agness, who's at home waiting. It's a small moment, but a huge realization. He still belongs to someone else, and she's the one left cleaning up the emotional mess. At that same gathering, Jane tells her kids she's bringing a date to the party, Adam. It's a quiet but powerful declaration that she's choosing to move forward. Adam represents something new, something honest, and most importantly, something that isn't tainted by past wounds. Her children are surprised but supportive, and the dynamic starts to shift. Jane's decision to bring Adam is a turning point. She's no longer hiding, no longer ashamed. For once, she's doing something for herself that isn't about pleasing Jake or making up for the past. It's not about being the perfect mom, the perfect ex, or the perfect anything. It's about stepping into the present and owning her choices. As Jane struggles with her feelings, she begins to develop a connection with Adam, her architect who is renovating her home. Adam is gentle, grounded, and genuinely interested in her, offering a new kind of relationship that is calm, honest, and emotionally available. He is also recovering from a recent divorce and understands the emotional terrain Jane is navigating. Unlike Jake, Adam is not bound by a complicated past with her and represents a chance at something fresh and uncomplicated. Jane's interactions with him show her the possibility of a different future, one that doesn't involve repeating history. The tension between Jane and Jake escalates when Jake starts to believe that their affair is not just a fling but a sign that they are meant to be together again. Fueled by nostalgia and the comfort of familiarity, Jake impulsively leaves Agness and declares that he wants to be with Jane. He believes that their renewed intimacy is proof they should reunite for good. However, Jane is not convinced. Although she admits the affair stirred something in her, she also recognizes that going backward isn't the answer. Their time together, while fun and passionate, also brought back the same problems and dynamics that led to their divorce in the first place. Their children begin to notice that something is off. Subtle clues, awkward glances, strange behavior, and sudden appearances lead them to suspect that something is going on between their parents. When the truth is finally revealed, it causes a wave of confusion and disappointment, especially from their eldest daughter, Lauren. She and her siblings struggle with the emotional implications of their parents reuniting after so many years of separation and healing. Jane is forced to confront how her decisions affect not just herself but also her family. As tensions rise, Jane finally tells Jake that she cannot move forward with him. She acknowledges that while they shared something real and powerful, their time has passed. Too much has changed, and they no longer fit together the way they once did. This bittersweet realization allows her to begin letting go of the past for good. Jake is heartbroken but ultimately accepts her decision. He had been clinging to a dream of rekindling their relationship, but Jane's clarity helps him see that it's time to move on. Jane's relationship with Adam remains uncertain. Hurt by the chaos and unsure of where he stands, Adam pulls away, not wanting to become entangled in unresolved drama. However, Jane eventually reaches out to him, choosing honesty and vulnerability. She explains everything: her confusion, her brief reconciliation with Jake, and her desire to move forward with a clean slate. Although Adam is initially hesitant, he respects her honesty and begins to open up to the idea of seeing where their relationship might lead. Their final exchange, centered on the simple pleasure of sharing chocolate croissants, symbolizes a fresh start built on mutual understanding and affection rather than romanticized notions of the past. The film closes with a sense of resolution. Jane is finally free from the emotional entanglements that have tied her to Jake for years. She has come to terms with her past, forgiven herself, and chosen a path that feels healthy and hopeful. Her children too are beginning to understand her more deeply, not just as their mother but as a woman trying to find happiness and peace. The story doesn't promise a perfect happy ending, but it offers something more grounded: emotional growth, self-awareness, and the courage to choose a different path. At its heart, the movie is about second chances, not necessarily with other people but with oneself. It explores the idea that love can be messy and imperfect, that healing takes time, and that sometimes the right decision is the harder one. It's a story of maturity, emotional honesty, and the importance of moving forward instead of looking back. Jane's journey is one of rediscovery, and by the end she is stronger, wiser, and ready to embrace whatever comes next on her own terms. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.